Historians still argue about what happened during the first basketball season. The records are incomplete, the witnesses contradict each other, and Kevin keeps changing his story. But everyone agrees on one thing. Kevin should never have touched the basket. The trouble began during a mammoth hunt, which was already unusual, because Kevin normally avoided mammoths the way mammoths avoided taxes. The tribe had cornered a mammoth near a cliff. Everything was going according to plan. Then, Kevin got distracted. This also happened a lot. Near the edge of the valley stood an old mammoth skeleton. The ribs formed a perfect circle. Kevin stared at it, then at a round stone, then back at the ribs. The chief immediately became nervous, because that sequence of events had never produced anything useful. Kevin threw the stone. It sailed through the ribs perfectly. The tribe froze. Nobody knew why. But something felt important. Kevin raised both arms. The chief sighed. Kevin had discovered a new way to waste time. Unfortunately, humans love wasting time. The next day, people returned to the valley. The day after that, even more people returned. Soon, nobody was discussing mammoths. They were discussing shots. Then teams appeared, then rivalries, then statistics. Nobody could count past 20. But that didn't stop them. Entire cave walls became covered in numbers. Most of them were completely invented. This became known as sports analysis. Kevin became famous. This was humanity's second mistake. The first was letting Kevin throw the rock. Soon, Kevin was calling himself the greatest thrower of all time. The tribe shortened this to GOAT. This confused the actual goats tremendously. Arguments spread across the valley. Children argued. Hunters argued. People who had never touched a basketball argued. One caveman watched a single game and immediately started a podcast. Civilization was deteriorating rapidly. Then came the championship, the largest game in human history. Thousands gathered. The atmosphere was electric, mostly because somebody accidentally set a bush on fire. Kevin's team was losing badly, very badly, embarrassingly badly. The kind of badly that follows you into future documentaries. Then something strange happened. Kevin suddenly started making every shot, impossible shots, ridiculous shots. Shots from distances no caveman had ever attempted. The crowd lost its mind. The chief became suspicious. The referees became suspicious. Even Kevin looked surprised. His team won. The valley erupted. Kevin was a hero. For approximately 6 hours. Then a child discovered the truth. The basket was bigger. Not much bigger, just enough. During the night, somebody had secretly widened the mammoth ribs. The championship had been rigged. The crowd fell silent. The chief fell silent. The referees fell silent. Kevin slowly started walking away, which, historically speaking, is what guilty people do. The investigation lasted months. Several witnesses were questioned. Multiple goats were questioned. One referee was questioned so aggressively he invented retirement. Eventually, the truth emerged. Kevin had modified the basket, not because he wanted to cheat, because he genuinely thought nobody would notice. This was somehow worse. The tribe was furious. Kevin was banned immediately. The first ban in sports history, the first scandal in sports history, and somehow not the last. Years later, the chief stood overlooking another championship game. The crowds were larger, the arguments were louder, the gambling was out of control, and despite everything, people still debated one question. Was Kevin actually the GOAT? The chief shook his head. Humanity had survived predators, ice ages, disease, and starvation. But apparently, they would never survive sports fans.